Meeting over to Ms. Reed to take roll call and establish a quorum. When Ms. Reed calls your name, unmute your microphone and state your name. Please remember to mute your microphone once you have stated your name.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Present.
Dan Jacobson,
Here.
Dee Dee Owens,
Present.
Ariel Pay,
Present.
Deirdre Robinson,
Present.
Michael Savoy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. At this time, I would like to thank the CBA staff and the solid team for their assistance in facilitating this virtual meeting. The CBA's mission is to protect consumers by ensuring only qualified licensees practice public accountancy in accordance with established professional standards. The mission is derived from the statutory requirement that protection of the public shall be the highest priority for the California Board of Accountancy in exercising its licensing, regulatory, and disciplinary functions. Whenever the protection of the public is inconsistent with other interests sought to be promoted, the protection of the public shall be paramount. Before we convene, please be advised that the meeting is being conducted consistent with the provisions of Governor Gavin Newsom's Executive Order N-29-20. Members of the public interested in participating in the meeting must join the WebEx meeting. Information and instructions are posted on the website. All lines are currently on mute. As I facilitate this meeting to allow for proceeding in an orderly manner, lines will remain on mute until I direct staff to open them for public comments. I will announce when we are accepting public comments on the various issues, and staff will open the lines as appropriate. 5 minutes will be allotted to each individual providing comments. I would also like to remind committee members and others speaking during the meeting to please use the raise hand feature if you wish to make a motion, ask a question, or make a comment. This approach is necessary to facilitate the meeting and ensure the committee has the opportunity to complete its necessary business. I appreciate everyone's understanding. Agenda item number 1, public comment. At this time, we will move to agenda item 1, which is public comment for items not on the main meeting agenda. Not on the July meeting agenda. The moderator will provide general instructions and then open it up for public comment. Please proceed.
Thank you. This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. Members of the public, if you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment" in the Ask field and click Send to all panelists. When prompted, click the Unmute Me button. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to proceed to item number 2. It is the approval of the May 13th, 2021 meeting minutes. If any member would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th, 2021 EPOC committee meeting, please do so by using the hand raise feature and wait to be called upon. So that's a motion to accept the minutes.
This is Deirdre Robinson, and I make a motion to accept the EPOC minutes of May 13th, 2021.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Pay, and thank you, Ms. Robinson. At this time, I'd like to ask for if there are any additional comments or discussion from our committee members. If so, please use the raise hand feature. Once I call on you and your microphone is unmuted, you may make your comment. All right, seeing no hands raised to make comment from the members, I will now turn it over to the moderator if any members of the public would like to make a comment.
This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A feature. Members of the public, the instructions are on the screen. If you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen. Type, "I would like to make a comment," and send it to all panelists. When prompted, click the Unmute Me button. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please, thank you. And now I would like to ask Ms. Reed to call for the vote. Once she calls your name, please unmute your microphone.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Yes.
Dan Jacobson,
Yes.
Dee Dee Owens,
Yes.
Ariel Pay,
Yes.
Deirdre Robinson,
Yes.
Michael Savoy.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Ms. Reed. At this time, I'd like to move on to item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding the use of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants .cpa domain. It will be presented by Dominique Franzella, Enforcement Chief. Mr. Franzella, please begin your presentation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, board members. The CBA is being asked to direct staff to work with legal counsel, NASBA, the AICPA, and other stakeholders regarding potential modifications to its statutes and regulations that will allow for an effective regulation of the CPA designation when used for the purposes of the .cpa domain. This particular item is before the CBA at a request of a CBA member. So in September of last year, the AICPA launched through its tech subsidiary, CPA.com, a new .cpa internet domain. The AICPA issued a positioning paper titled Introducing .cpa, a restricted domain exclusively for the CPA profession, which is included in attachment 1 of your materials. According to the information available from the AICPA, the domain names are issued on a first-come, first-served basis, and the AICPA does a license verification check at registration and renewal. And in those subscriptions that are for over a year long, the AICPA has informed, and I believe informed NASBA, that it will take a risk-based approach to determining if at least one subscriber holds a valid license. On the AICPA's website, there's a series of FAQs, and the following are eligible to apply for and receive a .cpa domain. 1, a CPA firm with a CPA firm license issued by a state board of accountancy, and/or 2, an individual with a CPA license issued by a state board of accountancy. However, staff in reviewing other areas of the website found under the terms and conditions on the AICPA website, the AICPA actually lists a third category, which is a not-for-profit professional organization exclusively engaged in supporting the profession and/or in representing the profession's interest, as also being an eligible entity to receive the .cpa domain. Staff did identify that at least one CPA society has registered such a domain, and that is the Texas CPA Society. So as the CBA considers this topic, staff have included various code sections applicable to the use of the term and abbreviation of CPA. These can be found beginning on the middle of page 2 of your item and continuing on to the top of page 3. Staff have identified a few areas of concern the CBA may wish to consider related to the impact of a CPA or CPA firm now being able to obtain a .cpa domain. Likely, there may be other issues that the CBA will identify during discussions on this topic. The ones that staff initially identified include name style, periods of inactivity and delinquency, and non-licensees' use of the CPA designation, and have highlighted some of that in your materials. Staff did reach out to NASBA regarding whether the UAA model rules may be updated to address the use of the .cpa domain name, and we've been informed NASBA is taking no such changes or considering no such changes at this time. Staff also did identify at least one state, Arizona, which maintains some level of flexibility to offer policy statements regarding the enforceability of certain statutes and adopted regulations. An example of this can be found in attachment 40 of your materials, in which back in November of last year, the Arizona Board of Accountancy issued what's called a substantive policy statement that took a position that the email addresses and domain names that do not exactly match the CPA or CPA firm name found on the license would not be considered a violation of Arizona statutes. The CBA does not have such authority to issue these types of interpretations. Any interpretations of its statutes would require the CBA adopt regulations when it will be generally applied across the affected population. So given that the .cpa domain usage is likely to become more prevalent over the coming years, it may be prudent for the CBA to update its statutes and regulations to provide an effective framework in which to ensure appropriate levels of consumer protection, while still allowing licensees and accounting firms the ability to use the .cpa domain. So staff recommend the CBA direct staff to work with legal counsel, NASBA, the AICPA, and other stakeholders regarding modifications to its statutes and regulations that will allow for an effective regulation of the CPA designation when used for purposes of .cpa domain. So at this time, I'd like to turn discussions back over to the chair, and I will do my best to answer members' questions.
I'm actually going to open this up for member comment and discussion or possible motion. At this time, I don't see any hands from members. I see member Owens and member Jacobson. Mr. Jacobson, why don't we start with you?
Thank you. Is there a problem with someone who is a public accountant but hasn't obtained the certificate, is not a certified public accountant?
Potentially, it could be one of the areas that we would continue to explore. Granted, there's only, I want to say, I think 2 practicing public accountants left, so it might not be as substantive an issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobson. Ms. Owens?
I was going to put forward the motion to adopt the recommendation for staff to work with the stakeholders regarding modifications. Given that this is something that we know is going to become more prevalent, that was going to be my comment.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Ms. Robinson?
I was going to second the motion.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Is there any additional discussion from members? Mr. Jacobson, I see your hand is still raised.
Yes. So the presentation said that we were talking about a state board of accountancy. In this context, does state include territories and other parts of the United States? Guam, for instance, District of Columbia.
For purposes of the Accountancy Act, the term state includes any of the 55 jurisdictions, or the 50 states and the 5 jurisdictions and territories.
Thank you. One other comment. While I will vote yes for this, I suggest that we let others beta test it. And let someone else, get into problems, and then they fix it, and then we can follow along.
I appreciate the slow walk approach, Mr. Jacobson, the suggestion for the slow walk approach. Given that, we can see that there is a lot of room for some challenges as we work out the kinks on this issue. But staff can note that Mr. Jacobson's recommendation. Are there any other comments from the committee members? I see no hands. Then I guess I can proceed to ask. I can turn it over to the moderator to ask if any members of the public would like to make a comment.
Thank you. This is the moderator. I've opened up the Q&A. Members of the public, the instructions are on the screen. If you would like to participate, click on the Q&A icon located at the bottom right corner of your WebEx screen and type, "I would like to make a comment" in the Ask field and click Send to all panelists. And when prompted, click on the Unmute Me button. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you very much. And so at this time, I would like to turn it over to Ms. Reed to call for the vote.
Carrie Ann Farrell Hines,
Yes.
Dan Jacobson,
Yes.
Dee Dee Owens,
Yes.
Ariel Pay,
Yes.
Deirdre Robinson,
Yes.
Michael Savoy.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. So now I would like to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is agenda items for the next meeting. I'd like to open it up for first for member comments on this item. All right, seeing no hands raised, then I'd like to ask the moderator to open it up for public comment, please.
Thank you. This is the moderator. The Q&A is now open. The instructions are on the screen. Just click that Q&A icon, hit I would like, or send I would like to make a public comment, and send it to all panelists. I will pause for a moment to allow members of the public time to access the feature. No requests have been submitted. Would you like me to close the Q&A feature?
Yes, please. Thank you. So seeing that there have been no requests for agenda items for future meetings from the members or the public, that concludes the business of this committee. And so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.